Hello. Oh, why didn't no one tell me about this? Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Alice. We talk about books. We sometimes do some lifestyle and vlog content. If you're looking for someone to stick on in the background whilst you make yourself a meal, clean your room, do that thing you've been putting off for the longest time, or you just want someone to listen to, then I'm your gal. So consider hitting that subscribe button. Come on in, join the family. It is free and you can unsubscribe at any time. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for your continued support. So what are we going to talk about today? The one thing we're not going to talk about is this. Again, don't know what she's doing at the moment. It's fine, it's what it is. Is what it is. So we're going to talk about this today. Holly Black. No, that's the author's name. We're talking about the Folk of Air Trilogy. This is a very, very well-known series, I believe. But, you know, no worries if you don't know it. I didn't know it for a while either. And we're going to talk about whether I'm glad that I now know it. That's the question of the day. Right, let's get these bad boys out. Oh, lovely. Lovely. Right, let's take a quick thumbnail. This is the first book, The Cruel Prince. Now what I thought today, I'll talk you through what I rated each of the books, and then basically we're going to answer the question of, is it worth reading this trilogy? Now I'm sure a lot of you out there have read this, or maybe have thought about reading this, and you know, it could be kind of helpful, like they're not really that long, to be honest. Like they're a good amount. Actually, weirdly enough, they get smaller as they go along. So you know, most books they get bigger because there's more to talk about. Not in this case, they actually get smaller, which is kind of crazy. Kind of was a bit off-putting at first when I saw it. I was like, oh, am I gonna like that? But you know, you'll have to stay tuned to find out if I did or not. We've got the trusty laptop with the reviews. We've got the 2023 books wrapped. Yes, I read these books in 2023. Crazy. I just figured we're going to talk about it today. What do you think? What do you think? Slowly making our way through everything we've read on the shelves so that we can then also be talking about new books. Hopefully getting some new books if we don't mess up our non-negotiable. We're knees deep in Fourth Wing at the moment, which means that our only other non-negotiable left to read will be The Maze Runner. So we've still got plenty of time. We're going to get this done. The deadline is the 31st of December, so stay tuned for that. The first one, The Cruel Prince. So I gave this book 4 stars. I know, I gave it 4 stars, 8 out of 10. Pretty wild, actually. Did not expect it to be a 4-star read, but once I started, I was into it. I was really into it. And I love a bit of fantasy. I do. I love just making up a world and having all these things you have to learn about. I love that. I really do. And I mean, as a younger person, my favourite genre was kind of a bit more dystopian vibe, but I just love world building. I think for me, that's probably my top thing I look for in a book, actually. Upon reflection, everything now before that's happened has led to this one moment where I just come out and say, I love world building. Give me a world to get behind, okay? And maybe that can help you guess how Fourth Wing is going for me right now. But get me a world. That's what I want, you know? I love, you know, books like The Secret History, Flowers for Algebra. I love those like one-off books. They're amazing. But get me a world and I'll be a ride or die. Do you know what I mean? 8 out of 10. I gave it 1 chili. It wasn't spicy. I think there's a few tense moments in there. Wasn't spicy. It was a little bit disappointed, actually. I did think this was going to be spicier. I don't even know who it's aimed at, though. I think it might be young adult. So I'm pretty sure it was all like tame. It was very tame. Like there was a little bit of spice here and there, but it was very tame. Like 1 chili is probably now for me. I'd be like, that's got no spice. Do you know what I mean? That's what happens when you start reading dark romance, people. Oh, gosh. Let's see what I thought. If asked would I recommend this book, I said yes to people who like fantasy, and the review. A very much enjoyable start to the series. I'm feeling hooked and excited to read the next one. I did guess some bits, but some bits shocked me as well, which was fantastic. Excited to see where the story goes, and it's a super slow burn tension vibe. There's a little spoiler there, so I'm not going to put that bit in. Thoroughly enjoyed the book. It was a little bit violent in places. Yes, for a YA book, I feel like these were quite violent. I will put that out there. But I didn't mind reading it as much as other things. Love the whole fantasy world and lands, the cross between 2 worlds. It does get a little bit cringy here and there. It does. I will put that out there, but I was here for it. Just scraped a 4-star. Yeah, it was a little bit on the edge. I was gonna rate it a bit lower, but I decided I enjoyed it. But it was definitely unlike anything else I read, and it did have this weird way of when I started reading it, it kind of made me feel really comfortable, like I was maybe reading I'm Virgin or Percy Jackson, like something nostalgic without being nostalgic, because I'd never read anything like this. Does that make sense? So I quite liked it. I definitely felt comfortable in the author's hands. So that is the cool print. Now let me just give you a little bit, I won't give you the blurb of all of them because obviously spoilers, but let me give you the blurb of this book and you can see if it's something for you. One thing I will say about fantasy is you're just gonna butcher names and you're gonna butcher the pronunciations, but it is what it is. So I just read it how I'd say in my head, okay? Of course I want to be like them. They're beautiful as blades forged in some divine fire. And Cardan is even more beautiful than the rest. I hate him so much that sometimes when I look at him, I can hardly breathe. One terrible morning, Jude and her sisters see their parents unalive in front of them. The fearsome assassin abducts all 3 girls and brings them to the world of fairy. Mocked and tormented for being merely mortal, Jude soon realizes that to survive in the treacherous, dangerous world of the royal court, she needs to be as cunning and deceitful as the Fae themselves. But the stairway to power is fraught with shadows and betrayal, and looming over all is the arrogant and charismatic Prince Cardan. Now, great, fantastic. I feel like this could have been more than a YA book. I think this could have been, woo! Almost lost the laptop. I think this could have been a dark romance book. We could have taken it a little bit more. Well, dark fantasy romance. What is it? What's it called? Romantasy. A dark romantasy, I reckon. We could have made it there. But there's something, even though it's like a little bit sizzle here and there, there's something kind of innocent about it, and I do kind of love that. It's got a, like I said, like a nostalgic feeling. Let's go to the second one. The Wicked King. I do really like the graphics of the crowns. They all have these like little sparkle and shiny bits. I do really like that. Right, The Wicked King got an 8.5 out of 10. Now, I think this was my favourite book out of the whole trilogy. I really enjoyed it, and it was a defo of 4 stars for me. It was a 2 chili. Again, take that with a pinch of salt. It probably was more like a 1 chili. It got a little bit spicier, which was fun. If asked would I recommend this, I said yes to people who like fantasy. It's going to be the same for the whole series, okay? Spoiler alert. So let's see what I said. I said 4 stars, 100%. Some fantastic plot twist which got me and I didn't see coming. That is very true. This series did get me on the whole twist, and you guys know what I'm like, classic overthinker. I get there, but this did get me with some plot twists. I'll give you that. I'll tell you that for free. All right, I'll tell you that for free. Loving the vibe, the dynamic between the 2 main characters. Definitely got the enemies to lovers kind of vibe going on, which we all know I love enemies to lovers. Really enjoying this trilogy, and I'm excited to crack straight on to the next book. I do remember that I pretty much read these like super fast. Loving the world that I've entered. Honestly, the world building was just so great. Just loved it. It was very nice escapism material. Definitely good for that. I feel like this could be one of my favorite tropes genres in books. Actually, I started to get more into the fantasy. This was pre-ACOTAR days as well, like getting more into fantasy, fae, fairies, all that, a bit more into enemies to lovers as well, so this was good for that. Very much enjoying these books, and I really like how the writer writes. I really enjoyed Holly Black's writing in these books. I feel like she just had it exactly how you needed it. It was straight to the point, but still had like, I was just here for it. I was here for it, okay? And then last but not least, we have the finale of the trilogy, The Queen of Nothing. Now, I was hoping this book was going to be my favourite, but the second one ended up being my favourite. But this still got an 8.2 out of 10, very specific. I definitely went through a random scale in 2023, but it was good. So again, a 4 star. I gave it a 4-star trilogy is what I would say it was. Oh, I'm so sorry. Again, I put the 2 chilies, but probably wasn't that spicy. And if asked, would I recommend? Yes, to those who like fantasy. Let's get on to the review. Said 4 stars. I really enjoyed the trilogy. I think the second book was my favourite, but this one did a really nice job of keeping everything a surprise and ending in a good way, that I was happy with the ending, you know. I still feel like there's some more stories to explore in this universe, and I actually think since I read this, there was another book out already, but there's another 2 books out as well, so I do need to go back to this series to read more, but I definitely wanted to know more at the end of this book. So I said I hope that she continues to write more. I absolutely devoured these books. They were right up my street. I'm not sure who I would recommend them to. At the time I said I don't know who of the people I know I'd go, hey, let me lend these to you, read them. I don't really feel like I had somebody I could do that to. But you guys, here, go read this trilogy, okay? Obviously, disclaimer, please always read the trigger warnings before reading any book, but especially dark romance, fantasy, those kind of books, because they tend to be a little bit more intense, a little bit more graphic. So please check them, because we want happy and safe readers, okay? Definitely praise them highly, and I love the characters and the settings, constant mixtures of emotions going on all the time, and all in all, an enjoyable read. So if we've learned something today, what have we learned? We've learned you're gonna go read this trilogy, okay? Maybe just try the first one first and see. It depends. Probably Black Friday coming up, might be able to get them on sale somewhere. I really enjoyed it. I will say once you kind of start it, you definitely feel like you have to get to the end of the trilogy. It does feel like you're getting involved, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I would recommend. So, you know, give it a go. Like I said, please read the trigger warnings beforehand. But on the whole, I feel like this is a good YA fantasy because it's not as intense as some other fantasies, but it still has all the elements of it. And I think that's why I probably enjoyed it, because I said it did definitely have this nostalgic feel. Like it felt like something that I would have wanted to read when I was a little bit younger. And I still enjoyed it now, so it was still great, but it did feel like something like Divergent or Percy Jackson for me, like something adventure. It was good, would recommend. Okay, moral of the story is would recommend. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. Have you subscribed? Thank you very much, and as always, until the next one, I'll see you then. Bye. We're knees deep in thought. We're knees deep in thought there. Oh, pardon me.